So, here's something that I wanted to talk about for a while and I never did. The absolute impossibility of Elder Scrolls Online PvP. If you've tried to get into the PvP in Elder Scrolls Online, you may have run into this scenario. You're riding around with 5 or 10 other people and you come across an enemy. All 10 of you then proceed to attack that enemy and very quickly realize that they're not just not taking any damage even though there's 10 people attacking them, but every now and then they will also turn around and explode half your group in the blink of an eye. Or maybe you don't do Citadel, so let's do a different scenario. You go into a battleground. It is an absolute bloodbath. Everyone's dying left, right and center except for 3 people. Those people are running around and absolutely murdering everyone else and they are 25-0. And even if you pull off your burst combo absolutely perfectly, they take 0 damage, they completely shrug it off and then turn around and kill you in 2 seconds. Does any of this sound familiar? I think it does, because it's like that for most people. And it is frustrating as hell, because for the most part, if you try to get help, the answer is just get good. And it's, I think, one of the main reasons why the PvP in Elder Scrolls Online is slowly dying out. The gap between new players and veterans that have been playing the game for years is just too vast. Do you know how I know it's too vast? It's because new people cannot even comprehend what the other person is doing. It's not that they're just not quite as good as the veteran, they are so much worse they don't even understand what the veteran is doing. Now I always see people defend this. Well, that's a good thing in a PvP game, it's based on skill. Yeah, that might be true, but it's also not doing the game any good. Because at the moment, in PvP, the game has a bunch of veterans that are shredding everyone, then a bunch of newbies that get shredded by everyone, but almost no one in between. Do you know why? It's because the newbies get dumpstered over and 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 over again every time they try to do something, and they just get tired of it and leave. Well, but Mr. YouTuber, you see, they could always just get good and become the veteran. Yeah, you see, there's a problem with that. Very few people are willing to be shat on for months so that they can finally get good and start shitting on other people. Which is why the PvP scene is bleeding players left, right and center. Why do you think the Imperial City, despite being really cool, is just dead and no one ever goes there? Because whenever someone does go there, they immediately get jumped by someone that is incomprehensibly better than them and they kill them in like a second or two, and after a few tries they'll just go, you know what? I'm good, thanks. Now for those of you that are not too familiar with ESO PvP, I want to show you how much of a difference a good player with a good build makes. Here's me, a sort of mediocre Stamps orc, fighting about an equally average max orc, right? We sort of slap each other around, and eventually one of us manages to line everything up and take the other person down like I'm about to do right here. Slap goes the Dawnbreaker. And here is me fighting a really good Dragon Knight in a battleground. I try to dot him up and pressure him, but he dots me up as well. Here comes the stun, bam goes the leap, and here come the whips. Whip, 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 and I'm dead. And I did precisely 0 damage to him. He's still at full health. There is literally nothing I can do at my skill level with my build that would actually threaten this guy in any way, shape or form. Because every single time I ran into him in the battleground, no matter what I did, he rolled me just like he did in this clip. Now for me, that's not that big of a deal. I was actually trying to run into this guy as much as I could, and I was even swapping skills around to see if maybe I can do something else that would take him down. But no matter what I did, his health would not budge, and the second he would go on the offensive, I would just die. And this is something you're gonna run into over and over and over and over and over again until you get really good and you become that guy. But becoming that guy takes time, like a lot of time. Very few people pick the game up and are instantly amazing. And if on top of all of this you add the just downright terrible performance in Citadel on EU, like the CP campaign is just embarrassingly bad, to a point where I don't play at peak time because the lag just gets too bad. Like if I really want to play during peak time, I have a special like Healy support build that I play instead because the lag doesn't hurt me on that build as much. There's no wonder more people are leaving than are coming in, because you have the terrible performance, then you have this crazy divide between the new players and the veterans, where the veterans are just steamrolling through newbies. Like honestly, one veteran that's built for 1vxing can easily roll a group of like 20 or 30 newbies, no problem. Like even I'm getting to a point where at times I am somewhat competent and I've killed like 4 or 5 people in a group before, like just on my own. Because they were really new, or they had like bad builds with no defenses, so they just melted. And I'm not gonna lie, every time I manage to pull it off, you know, I jump into a group of 4 or 5 people and I absolutely dumpster them on my own, it feels damn good. But I honestly think something should be done to narrow the gap between new players and veterans a little bit. And I'm not talking about something crazy or big, just make it so that the initial onboarding process isn't as ridiculous as it is right now. Because getting into PvP right now as a new player that has no idea what to do is like crawling through glass, with the promise of eventually being able to lay down the glass for someone else. Because as I've mentioned already, the difference between newbies and veterans is so vast. When you get dumpstered as a newbie by a vet, you're not sitting there like, wow, that guy did this thing and it was really cool. No, you're sitting there like, how did I die so fast? Did I get like ran over by a mammoth or something when I wasn't looking? What happened to me? Like, I've been playing the game for years and I still have these moments every now and then. Like when I run into a warden with Balorgs and he slams me with a 500 ulti Dawnbreaker with a deep fissure going off at the same time and then executes me like 1 or 2 global cooldowns. I'm like, bah, how did I die? What killed me? Then I open up the death recap and start muttering, oh, Balorgs, fun, through clenched teeth. Making it less horrid for new players is going to be difficult though because of the way the PvP system works, and I have nothing against it. I actually kind of like the fact that you can become really good and outplay people if you stick with it and you learn all the little nuances and how to play your class really well. But believe you me, because I've been there, trying to get into PvP as a complete newbie is one of the worst experiences that I've ever had in any video game. It's just horrible. And it's consistently getting worse and worse as veterans become better and better. So I just think there needs to be something to help out the newbie so they're not getting one-shot for months until they either quit or become good enough to start one-shotting the new newbies. And again, it doesn't need to be something crazy. It doesn't have to be big. Like what they could do, for example, is when you first go to Citadel, you are given a set of gear that only works in Citadel and scales with your level. This gear isn't great, but it has roughly the right stats for sort of like a general brawler build. So that, you know, new players aren't running around with 18,000 HP and 10,000 resistances, making every Nightblade in the area drool. That wouldn't really change the way PvP works, right? Wouldn't really change the system, but it would give the newbie a better fighting chance. I mean, they've already done stuff like this with like the baseline crit resistance, right? And more recently, actually, the changes to light attack damage. Weaving light attacks and animation cancelling doesn't add anywhere near as much damage to your combo as it used to. So if you're sloppy or new, you know, you don't understand light attack, weaving, and animation cancelling, you're not losing as much damage as you used to. I don't know, it's gonna be difficult to give newbies a better fighting chance without really breaking the whole skill progression, which is really nice in ESO. But what I do know is that something needs to happen, otherwise there isn't gonna be anyone left to fight. Like even now, Citadel barely fills up, even during peak time, and if you do Battlegrounds a lot, which I do as well, you see the same people over and over again, because there aren't that many people playing it. It's just a handful of people rotating in and out. But anyway, I think that's enough rambling for today, so I thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have any idea on how to help with this problem, leave it in the comment section down below, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.